Hello, my name is Stevie Martinez, and I am a lecturer of music here at Coastal Carolina University in Conway, South Carolina, and also principal double bassist with the Long Bay Symphony in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm here to talk about some areas for our basses in the Region 6 for the 2024 SCMEA Region Orchestra auditions. And this is one that's going to focus on the selections for levels 6 through 8. So we have two selections that we're going to take a look at. The first one we're going to take a look at is the Holman-Beyer composition. I have suggested fingerings along with some areas of focus, especially with sections that I have labeled in the sheet music. So make sure you use the link to access those materials and follow along and practice along with me. This first section we're going to take a look at is going to start with your open A string and then proceeding to the melodic phrase that's in D major. This is pretty straightforward, but the one thing that I want to pay attention to, especially with this first section, this first 8 bars or so, is the length of the bow and how we play these first couple bars. So we have this up bow. And what's very scary about that first situation is the bow length. We know that we have an up bow and a down bow, but then we have 2 beats worth of up bow that we must compensate for. So a good little area, especially since the notation states a staccato with the tenuto as a downbeat of that D. We can do a very fast bow and also lifting up as well, so we can have a placement of the bow near the tip. And then we have a beautiful length of 2 beats for this next pattern of the dotted 8th and 16th. And so that's something I want to pay attention to, since it's going to happen in this phrase pretty much every measure in this first section. We have that all the way down to the tip. And of course the same situation as we go up next, all the way to the tip of the bow. And of course we do the same thing. Fingerings are good, all the way to the tip. What's really important as well too is that each note speaks, is nice and consistent with the attack, and it's just a nice, beautiful melody singing. Just keep it very melodic, especially in this first area. But the bow length and also staccatos will help us out with that bow placement for those longer notes. Section 2. This has to have a lot of full bow, especially since we're still compensating for that long down bow, followed by an even longer up bow for 2 beats. You'll see with the pickup to measure 10, we have these 2 eighth notes and then a straight down bow for those first 2 eighth notes. So we just got to be conscious to get all the way to the tip of the bow. That way we have the tenuto highlighted with our 2 upstrokes. So there's something to practice as well too. It's not just starting at the beginning of the phrase, but just starting at the tip of the bow, where our 2 beats has to be focused. So we could do it slow, we could do it fast at tempo, but I would practice this super slow so we actually get the full duration of those notes and also the comfortability of the bow. Same thing as we shift up to the other areas. All these fingerings are good. Same thing going all the way to the tip of the bow. So that way we have a lot of room for the up bow area. Now those tenutos are highlighted in 2 parts of this phrase. So we just want to highlight that always when this is marked. For that second area, I'm passing through the open G. And we have this nice, beautiful tenuto. And of course, contrast with the dynamics that you want to have. So we have right at the beginning, number 2, forte. Rest. So we just got to be conscious about always with that length. And of course, the weight will help us with the dynamics. This fourth part of big number 2, where we go up into this D area transition zone for the F sharp and G. These fingers are still good as well too. Remember to catch the harmonic with your 3 on the high G. The harmonic's going to save us always, and just let it nice and let it ring nice and bright on that one. Now you'll notice that I did not do the right bowing, but also I am using a 3rd finger instead of a 4th finger for the F sharp. That's my preference. I think it's a little bit more accessible, but for our younger students, especially in the level 6 and 7 or grade 6 and 7, I would recommend going after the 4 because of our hand development. Once we get a little bit older and our hands get a little bit larger, we can actually go for that 3. But let's develop that 4 so it's always nice and consistent and nice and in tune always. So that last part, harmonic. We got to compensate always for that up bow. Everything else is as is. Now this next section, the trio, I'm going to label this big number 3. We have a lot of grace notes. Well, not too many. We just have 2 within this phrase, but we want to put it right before the beat. That way the notated F sharp is on the beat. The grace note is just right before. So far, without the grace note, it just sounds something like this. Now putting that grace note, it's just a little inflection, a little ornamentation. It's just a little decoration on the beautiful cake. Remember to compensate as well too. Make sure you have full length of the bow. So starting right here at the balance point. That way right here at the frog, all the way to the tip of the bow. And again, a nice skip. So what's going to be really difficult about this piece is just bow length and concentration as well of how far we want to go with down bows and to compensate for those double up bows when they appear. So that trio. We have train tracks and surah, and then beautiful open fizz. And you'll notice that I'm closing a lot of open strings, especially on that bar 33, where we have these 2 staccato open Gs. It's very easy to just land on an open G, but it takes the character away, and it's kind of very nasally. I mean, it's not as beautiful as we can make it, especially when we can close it and do nice vibrato along with it. So overall, we're looking at for nice bow length. A good way to practice this is exactly what I'm doing right here, where I have a strong down bow and then 2 up bows. Let's try it again. Of course, you could do it with this with scales. You have an A major scale you need to practice, and also, F major and an E melodic minor. Why not do this on F? And so on and so forth, just to get the character and also the bow length. This is going to be a really fun piece, and especially in the singing melodic parts, it's a great opportunity for you to showcase your skills. All right, happy practicing. Hello, my name is Stevie Martinez. I am lecturer of music here at Coastal Carolina University, and also the principal double bassist with the Long Bay Symphony in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm here to talk about some selections of the upcoming regional audition for our Region 6 folks, mainly Horry County school students. We're looking at the Spanish dance arranged by Bayer as our second selection from the 6th through 8th grade for our upcoming auditions. So this, again, I have the sheet music along with some suggested fingerings. Make sure you use the link to access those materials. I have this split up into 3 different sections because it's a nice way to see the form and also to help with practice and just getting this in the character that we want. Now this is a lovely 3/8 at a a brisk dotted half note at 80 beats per minute. I'm going to play this extremely under tempo. That way we can really see the fingerings and also just the string crossings as we go through. Let's go ahead and just play through this first area and just kind of highlighting what we're doing here. This is all very much approachable, especially in half position and all these notes. Very nice and slow. We do have an open D or a notated D right here in the middle of staff, right here at the beginning. So there's a lot of debate that we can have. We can have an open sound, which is great, but automatically we have an open string, a string crossing that we really have to worry about. Something I would suggest, maybe find that harmonic on your A, and that's your D note. And I like that approach because the A string's vibrating the whole time. I can have beautiful, nice resonance, and also my string is now cut much shorter by placing the D here versus the whole D string. So that's my suggestion. I would highly advise going after that. That way it can be really expressive, especially in this low range. It's very difficult to be expressive, but as long as we have great tone, it's going to be very successful. So just kind of combing through this as we go. Here's the first part. Straight to our second section, landing on that D. There are some areas of concern, especially with the F and G. String crossing, just make sure that we have nice open sound. I throw a little vibrato on the longer notes just to give it some musicality, some expression, but we don't want to have vibrato the whole way through. We want a nice solid foundation. This might be too wobbly. This is too much work. I'm already exhausted, so don't even worry about it. Just go straight for a nice tone, and especially with the longer C's, we can probably add a little vibrato just to give it a little bit of expression. Our section 2 here starts on this high D. We want to aim for that 4 that's notated. So good practice is just to do the low B flat to a harmonic D, and we know that we're always in tune. So that's a good shifting exercise just to get that shift. And then we can land and place right into it. Now, right here out the gate, the B flat's notated with a 2 and a 1. I'm going to suggest a 4-2. That way you're nice in position for the E flat. We have this beautiful tritone. And we can really make sure it's in tune with a solid half position fingering. So we start here at that big number 2. We have a lift, which means that we have time to shift somewhere. We do have a F notated. We can play it right here on the D. But that's a big shift all the way up top. I may make a suggestion, and I may play it here, the F on the A string. So if you're E harmonic on the A, your F is right there at that big 2. And then we are in position for the E flat. But the challenge is to connect the F and the E together and skipping that D string. So choose your battle. I mean, both are fine. I find myself being more successful up here because shifting, that's a whole violin plus. So it's a lot of movement. And I like the F to E area here, and you just really work on that 2 transition zone. Keep it going. Measure 19. Open. Stay in position here. So all of that can be played up in this D hook area, what we call position 4, transition zone. All of it can be managed right here, right at 19. rest that comes after this is good. We have a 1 on C. I'm going to suggest that you play this on the G. Okay, right in position. Then we shift up the E flat with the 1, and you'll see that we have brackets, little kind of dashes that's notated under the music. That's to show that we're in position for these groups of notes. We have the E flat to C. We're just crossing over for that beautiful minor third. We shift down for the A. Stay in position for the D. We shift down for the G. Make sure it's nice and in tune. Shifting down for F. Shift up for C. Back to that E flat with a 4. And of course, that's the end of that whole area. So kind of in real time. We start the whole phrase again, big number 3. This is kind of the same as the first. Since we landed on 1 on the B flat, guess where your 4's at? Ready for that closed D again. So that's why I like to go after those closed. The open strings may not be pronounced, especially in the moment. We have to take a lot of focus, get that punctuated. Sometimes our sound can be like this, right? It has this kind of wash before it settles. We want it nice and punctuated. So one good way is to get that on the sol A string. Everything else after this is pretty good, just like the beginning. Last two, scary because we have an open string and double ups. More likely, you'll probably approach it like this with a 1, 4, open, 1. I'm going to encourage you to try this out. Other than playing a 4 on the F, try 1. It's a beautiful way to highlight that triad and just have a nice punctuated note, especially since we have 2 up bows accented with staccatos. A lot of information in those 2 measures. So choose your battle wisely. Open string, a little bit more focus, especially on the upstroke.